righty, we are here. This is behind the curtain bonus episode. We brought on special invisible part of the Defense of Ska team to join us today.
The third member, the silent member.
Yeah,
usually, but today you'll hear him.
And let's hear him.
Speak. Get it? Because I'm silent. I waited. Oh. Yeah, I'm here. Yay.
I wish there was somebody I could tell to cut that out, but I can't.
Yeah, no, fuck that. No cutting. No extra work.
Tell people a little bit who you are, what you do for the podcast before we get into our topic today.
So I am the editor. On the internet, some people call me Cool Chris. You just call me the guy who does the shit that makes you sound good.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. You know, you guys record the stuff. You tell me the stuff you liked and didn't like, and then I try to go from there and make it sound pretty good.
Yeah. You do a good job. My number one note I feel like I ended up giving you is turn Adam down.
Yeah. For like the first 2 months, it was always, I think Adam's a hair too loud. And for you, a hair means like 4 decibels.
Yeah.
Just way more than a hair.
So, and also, I guess you should tell people too what you do when you're not editing. What do? You do a little something called
Ska Punk International. I'm the person behind that record label, and it started as a podcast. I haven't done an episode in like 6 months, but maybe because I'm working on a different podcast most of the time. But I do run a record label. Got a bunch of cool ska releases, so go check any of those out if you are so inclined.
Wow.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk band names.
A topic
ska
that,
band names.
You know, I really feel like doesn't get discussed enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to amend this at the very beginning by just saying you can have a terrible band name and be a great band.
Like, oh, yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt. Any band names we don't like, that is not a reflection on the musicianship of the band. It is solely talking about good band names, what makes a good band name and what makes a bad band name.
And I think to be fair, before we talk about other band names, let's talk about our own band names.
Sure. Yeah.
And let's be totally
let's
brutally
let's talk about the elephant in the room right away.
Oh shit, I'm very quickly realizing why you wanted me on here.
What is your band name, Chris?
Well, there was a few I was in, but the main one that I know Adam wants to talk about was The Bored Agains, which is a terrible name.
Terrible.
It not only is it not very good to begin with, it always was confusing and got wrong, and all the like write-ups and like lineups and anything, you'd be like, oh cool, we're in the paper. Oh shit, it actually says The Born Agains. And we kept getting booked as like a Christian band, and we were we got banned from clubs because we would go on stage and like say fuck or something, and then they'd be like, get off the stage. So it was just bad all around. It was just terrible planning to name your band The Bored Agains just because you thought it was funny to be bored again.
I don't think that's actually the worst band name for especially like a young ska punk band. Not a terrible band name.
Yeah, and in the 90s too. Like, to be clear,
sure.
This was like, we started in 97, went to like 2000 or something.
Right.
So I feel like it's a little more excusable then too.
What were your other band names? Just even bands that didn't really go anywhere.
Oh, my very first band when I was 15 was also a ska band called Skablam.
Skablam?
Yeah.
Okay. Not a fan of the name.
No, it's not. It's not good, but you know, Kablam, heard the Toasters on there, was like, cool, let's play tribute to that, bro. So, Skablam, that was something.
Okay, what else do you got? Was that it, or do you got any others?
I think that one could have easily been fixed by just taking the L out. Skabam.
Skabam?
Much less terrible than Skablam.
Oh, just like a kabam.
Skabam.
Skabam.
It rolls off the tongue a little easier.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I know there's others, but I actually can't remember anymore. So what about you?
Let's talk about Carnes real quick.
Yeah.
So my main band was Flat Planet.
Right.
I think not a great name, and definitely didn't age well.
No, I mean, not with all the crazy QAnon people and whatnot
Right.
now. But
I wanted, but to be clear though, like the reason we named the band Flat Planet in the '90s was the idea of people being thinking that the Earth was flat was so ridiculous that it was funny.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have, I would never do that now because it's not ridiculous anymore.
Yeah.
I actually thought you did it because in the 90s there was that whole thing within skating. It was like, wouldn't it be cool if the Earth was flat and you could skate everything?
None of us were skaters.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
But you see, actually, my friend Bruce, who was only in like the very beginning part of Flat Planet, he had that name before. Like, it was like a name he had in his mind. He's like, I want to start a band, and he really wanted to start a funk band called Flat Planet, and he had his whole vision for Flat Planet, this funk band being this really cool thing, and he had like this. He was like singing me this theme song. He's like, Flat Planet, come. Boom, 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 boom. And he was like, man, it'd be so cool. And then, anyways, it became ska band. So much to his, I'm sure, like disappointment. So Adam, your main band.
My main band right now, Omnigon, which, I mean, like I came across it and I, made the logo before anybody had heard of the band or seen it. And I was like, I like this. I like how this will look on a shirt. I'm not sure if people will pronounce it correctly because people had a hard time with Dessa. And weirdly, nobody's really had a hard time with Omnigon. I've gotten a few Omnigones, like Antigone, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, didn't Kenny say that once on Twitter? I think that was the first time I'd even like considered that as a pronunciation. Yeah,
them, and then Sarcasm. They brought up that I think Siri or Alexa, like one of those personal helpers, pronounces it wrong when you ask them to play it, which is hilarious.
I like the name. It sounds kind of heavy, which I think fits the band.
Yeah, I wanted something that was one word that was. When you Googled that, it was the only thing that would come up, like, because Omnigon without the E, like, is a thing. But then when you add the E to it, then it's just the band name.
Yeah, it's similar to my other band, the one that I have with you, Narboots.
Right.
How it's like, there's not really much to associate it with besides the band, which I think that's a good aspect to Narboots and to Omnigon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's a key thing in a name. If you can figure out one that's going to like just unequivocally be only about the band, that's like perfect.
Like that band Fun. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But like
your name is Fun.
That's a different trope though, because there's the whole thing of like naming your band a thing that's like a one word thing or a 2-word thing that's very generic. It's like a cool name. Like it looks good in writing. But then when you try to Google the band, if it's like a smaller band, it's impossible to find them unless, I guess it's a little bit easier now because you put in the name and then band. But like there's a band called Dry Cleaning. Terrible band name. But like the band name Daylight, which is what Super Heaven was originally called. Like Daylight is a great band name, but impossible to Google band members.
I like Link 80. I think it's a nice sounding name, and it also kind of similar to what we said about Narboots and Omnigon. It's just the band name.
Totally.
There's no Link 80 in your mind. Like Blink 182, I never liked that name because it's like 182 is just too much. Like,
yeah,
why is
it sounded like wasn't there a movie called Turk 187 or something? Like I always mix it up with that. But anyhow, like all the other number names, like ME330, that's the name of the music class that they went to in college. Yeah. As long as it has a meaning, I'm down with the number names. There was a band that we met on tour called Preferred 53. And the only reason the number was there was because if you ever look at the side of a semi truck as you're driving past it, it's 53 feet long. And so at the end of it, there's a little 53-foot marking at the back of the trailer. And that was where they got the 53 from. And I thought that was kind of whack.
Yeah.
So really it's I think it's like a kind of tired trope because it's from the 90s. But if it fits the meaning, I feel like it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm with that. I personally, if I'm being honest with you, I'm going to be real with you, Adam.
Yeah.
Link 80 was so much of a problem in the 90s.
Why is that?
I would wear that hoodie all the time, and it would be like, "Oh, I like Blink 182." Also,
Oh,
like, no,
1000%. Yeah, Blink
Read-
182.
read my sweatshirt, you piece of shit. That's not what it says, and they don't sound like that.
So, Chris, I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but we played in Flagstaff, and we rolled up to the show, and there were like 4 really excited looking, kind of clean cut pop punk kids standing out front, and they saw us roll up, and we saw on the marquee that they had written Link 182. Oh no, they'd written Blink 80. Blink 80 is what they had written.
Blink 80.
Oh,
Blink 80. And these kids saw us roll up. That's all you get to hear for now. But if you head over to the Patreon, over behind the curtain, we have the rest of this episode. We talk about a whole bunch of different band names. Maybe we talk about your band name. So you'll never know unless you sign up for the Patreon. Look, for just $5, you'll be supporting the podcast, and you'll be supporting the podcast. So just go do it, okay? And with that, we leave you by saying, ska now more than ever. Don't want to disturb him, but that's Aaron over there working hard on the 2nd edition of his book. Go sign up for the Patreon, okay? I'm trying not to bug him while he's typing.